someone who has done unbelievable work on behalf of the children of New Hampshire to make sure that low and moderate income kids have the opportunities that wealthier ones have through a scholarship program that the state conveys business property and business profits and business enterprise tax credits to the companies that fund these scholarship programs. Her name is Kate Baker. I'm sure she's no stranger to all of you here. And by the sheer force of her will, Kate has brought this effort together. She kept it alive after several starvation attempts in the legislature. Raised money when it was uncertain whether or not the program was going to survive, and now that the legislature is firmly in the hands of a Republican Party with a governor who agrees that choice in education, which creates competition in education, which, as with competition everywhere, improves results and lowers costs.
You're stealing my whole thing, you know.
There you go. So much for the intro. And but now that it's there, Kate's doing some really spectacular work. And without further ado, Kate Baker.
Hi, my name is Kate Baker. I'm the Executive Director of Children's Scholarship Fund in New Hampshire. And I work on what is called private school choice. So we do have two different types of school choice in New Hampshire. We do have some public school choice, which is our career and tech ed centers. We have VLACs, an online charter school. And we do have about, I think now it's 24 charter schools in New Hampshire. I consider that public school choice. And I'm here today to talk to you about private school choice. And I'm going to just make this interactive. So if you have a question as I'm talking, just raise your hand and let's have a conversation. This is a small enough group that I feel like we could go back and forth and I won't have any difficulties at all. So questions, raise your hand, I'll call on you, we'll just go like that. Already?
Yeah,
go for it.
The Lutheran win.
Yeah, sure, the Trinity Luthern. You want me to, yeah, I'll hit that for sure. Yeah, definitely. When I get to education savings accounts, I'll talk about that Trinity Lutheran Supreme Court case and how that helps us to be able to create those programs in New Hampshire. Representative Edwards.
So I have two questions.
Yeah.
The first one is, how did you get to be so awesome?
You're funny.
And the second one is...
being tenacious.
What's
right?
next?
I'm the little engine that could. That's how I'm so awesome. So, you know what it is? It's that I don't ever give up, okay? And I know that's like one of those little memes you see on the internet all the time that says, never give up your dreams. But honestly, facilitating positive change takes much longer than you think, right? And you might wish that something happens immediately or think that it's going to happen or grow really fast, but instead it takes 5 years or 10 years. So the way I look at education choice in New Hampshire, I'm not going to call it school choice anymore because now we're talking about giving families the opportunity to do more than just choose a school, and I'll explain that a little more in a minute. But I think, too, to look at things as a long-range plan. Like, I'm in this for the long game. To me, this is like a 100-year plan, right? So when I look at making sure that children have education opportunities in New Hampshire and facilitating positive change to get them there, for me, it's a forever, right? I probably will never stop doing the work. So I think that's probably what you're seeing when you're seeing that, you know, it continually grows year after year after year after year.
Which leads me to the second
Yeah.
question. So what is your number one legislative priority next session?
Yeah, so I'm going to go over 3 things. So I want to just share with the people in the room that are new to this issue what we have here in New Hampshire in addition to charter schools. So we have a education tax credit scholarship program. And the way that works is a business can donate to our scholarship organization. They can subtract that donation from tax they have to pay to the state, business enterprise and business profits tax, and then we utilize that money to provide scholarships for children so they can choose private school or homeschool. Let's talk about the fiscal implications of that since we're at the taxpayers event, right? So, anyone in this room know the average cost of per pupil in New Hampshire public school? Too much. So it's about $16,000. Okay, so about $16,000 per pupil in New Hampshire for a child to be in a public school. I was speaking to Senator John Reagan, and not that I didn't think about this beforehand, but his reason for working on school choice is he feels like by implementing these programs, it's our best opportunity to give our local property tax owners property tax relief. Okay, the reason for that is The average cost of a private school in New Hampshire, anybody know? What do you think? 8? It's a little lower than that. Can you imagine? What do you think?
I think it's 7.
You think it's 7, so really close. Yeah, it's $6,500. $6,500. So if we take our $16,000 per pupil cost for a public school, and we subtract our average cost for a private school, I've got $9,500 in my hand now. Where that savings is, could be savings to the state, could be some local savings. Sure, they're going to tell you there's fixed costs, there's variable costs. Warren Buffett actually says there are no fixed costs. There's just long-range costs that you have to work on making unfixed, right? So there's a whole different debate whether there's fixed and variable costs. But the fact remains, the average cost of a student in our traditional public schools is $16,000. If a child utilizes a school choice program or pays for that education themselves, their parents out of their pocket, or some variation thereof, or proportion thereof, they might be paying $6,000. If they're utilizing a private school and they're utilizing a tax credit, there's even more savings because the tax credit for the business is 85%, not 100%. So these types of programs, in essence, can put money in our pockets, put money in taxpayers' pockets. For every child that we help in a school choice program, there's more money in our pockets. Not my pockets, not the kids' pockets, but the taxpayers' pockets, which is why this is a key issue that I say we should advocate for taxpayer groups. So usually I don't focus on the fiscal implications at all. I focus on the kids, right? Because it's 2017. It's New Hampshire. We have incredible education opportunities here. We have some of the best schools in the nation, and in my opinion, someone shouldn't be limited by their income of whether or not they could choose those schools. And it's as simple as that, right? The doors should be open, the kids should have access to them. That's just the way I think. I don't think your income should limit your opportunities. So, for me, it's kind of now since I've been doing this for 5 years, I've seen so many children be kind of launched into the stratosphere by having the education that's the right fit for them too. For example, we had a child who was right here in Manchester in a public middle school with an IEP, which is called an individual education plan, which is a special needs child. And he was in internal suspension all the time, like a bad kid. They were saying he was a bad kid. He was getting D's and F's. He was being put in suspension, and he had a special needs. So you would think he would actually get what he needs, but no. Come to find out, his older brother already incarcerated for drugs, okay? So his mother was like, if I don't do something, my son is going to be just like his brother, incarcerated for drugs. She finds us, she gets a scholarship from us, she sends him to this little Catholic school on Union Street called St. Casimir. And I don't know if you've ever been to St. Casimir, but when you go in there, it feels like a warm, happy envelope is wrapped around you, and they just love children. He starts going to St. Casimir. His mother goes in to have an IEP meeting, which if you're a special family of a special needs child, you do that. You go and have a meeting. She says, I'm here to have a meeting with you. And they say to her, oh, well, we don't feel like we need to have a meeting with you. He's getting A's and B's. He goes on to graduate from St. Casimir School with honors. Now he attends the Academy for Science and Design charter school in Nashua. And he wants to go to Princeton for engineering. Okay? Hello? Like, that made perfect sense. Wait till I tell you. You know how much the scholarship was? It was $1,000. So just $1,000. So that kid was costing $16,000 in his local public school. He leaves the public school. We give him a scholarship for $1,000. And now he's on a totally different life trajectory. So that's how the Education Tax Credit Scholarship Program works. A business makes a donation to us, takes the tax credit, we use the money to do that, which is transformational. So last year, we raised $220,000 and helped 122 kids, which was great, okay? That was great, sure, fun. So, Kevin, wait till I tell you what it is this year, okay, ready? Okay. So we're still collecting checks because people could make their donations until the 15th of July from taking the tax credit. But this year, it looks like we got to $650,000. So we're tripling the size of the program now. So, those years where we were fighting the court battle about the constitutionality, yes, truly did slow us down. But now we're in our third year of operating after that, in essence unencumbered. We do have to always fight a repeal battle. We go to the State House and make sure they don't repeal the tax credit law every year, which is actually a great opportunity for me to talk to legislators about school choice, so it doesn't bother me. But now we're finally in the, you know, when you do a startup, you got that part of the hockey stick. Now we're finally on the upswing. So that's what the tax credit program looks like. So Representative Edwards asked me, what are we working on? What's next? So right now we have a bill in the legislature. It's actually been retained in House Education, so we can work on it a little more. And what that bill is something called education savings accounts. So when you get a scholarship from us at the scholarship organization, it's not just for private school tuition. You can also get a scholarship from us to purchase online ed, right? So for example, I have one scholarship student who attends the Stanford Online High School with a scholarship from us. You also could pay tuition. Say this little Stanford Ed guy, who's adorable by the way, you know, finishes his Stanford Ed quickly and he wanted to take a college class. He could use our scholarship as long as he hasn't graduated from high school to do that. You also could purchase homeschooling materials or books or technology. So the scholarships are not just for school tuition, it's for, in essence now, customizing the education of your child. So the education savings accounts would do just that. They would make it so that parents could get a grant that they then could customize their education for their child. The way it works in other states is like a restricted debit card, right? Like you might imagine your EBT card that you can only use for food. This would be a restricted card you could only use for education expenses. So the reason the Trinity Lutheran case is important is that when we're discussing this stuff, like what a parent can choose to do for their child, the topic of religious schools always comes up, right? And whether or not a parent can use our scholarship money or the education savings account money to choose a religious school. And what the Trinity Lutheran case basically said is yes, right? That otherwise, if you were to limit that, it would be discrimination. And of course, I've been saying that for 5 years, but I'm just Kate Baker. I'm not a new, U.S. Supreme Court justice. So now I'm so glad they agree with me. How about that? Yeah. Right. So the point of creating an education choice program would be to empower those families, right, to now be in the driver's seat of their child's education and not necessarily just have their only choice be their assigned district school, right, to get them so they can do what they need to do for the child. And if we limited that only to certain things, then it just doesn't make sense, right? So what I like about the education savings account is, for example, a family could purchase a course at their local high school. I mean, what a revolutionary idea, right? I want to take calculus at Central, but I want to do my literature work at the community tech school, and I want to do my science at home because my mom loves blowing things up with me, right? So, I mean, you could do all those things. You could purchase a course. You could pay tuition at a school. You can do a myriad of things like that. Tutors, for example, you have a special needs child, you could use your education savings account to pay for their speech and language therapist, right? So it's really, really cool. It's a new idea in the legislature. It's a new idea to all of you too, right? I mean, that took me, even 10 minutes to explain, okay? So it will take a little while, I think, for everyone to understand the vision. The cost savings is simple. The idea is slightly complex, right? All of us probably attended school in a building or we were homeschooled. And so the idea of doing a bunch of different things is a new idea. So it might take me a little while to share that information with everyone to the point where they totally get it, right? So the good thing is that we had that bill in the legislature already, and it got so far actually that we shocked the nation, okay? The National School Choice people finally noticed us, which they never have done, and they said, wow, what are you guys doing there? Like, you're really starting to make a difference. And we said, yes. So if you don't mind, would you please help us? And they said yes, and they did actually help us to hire a lobbyist who can work in Concord on that education savings account bill that's not me. Isn't that exciting? Because I want to double the scholarship program. So now we're at 650, right? 650,000 bucks. Yeah, baby. And I want to double that next year. Right? Yeah, it is 1.3, right? So now I'm a dead serious fundraiser, okay? So watch out, everybody. Put your wallets, hold your wallets, hold your wallets, okay? Right? So that's what I want to do. I don't want to go to the legislature. Not that I don't love hanging around with you, John Burt. Not that I don't love it up there. But I'd like to stay out here in the field, we'll call it, right? And ask some other people to help me with that. Although I'm still available, of course, to answer questions, for sure. So that was really all I wanted to cover. I'm happy to answer other questions. I wanted to share with you that if you want to watch all of this stuff happening in real time, you can go to Facebook and you can like a Facebook page called schoolchoicenh.org, which is where you'll see all of these types of alerts, like call your legislator, the education savings account bill is in the House, and you'll be able to kind of follow what we're up to all the time. And if you want to learn more about the scholarships or refer a family to us, which I love, or refer a business, I mean, why would you want to pay your tax when you could give it to me instead? It's way more fun, let me tell you, and then you know you're helping kids. So if you pay tax, business enterprise or business profits tax, CSF, and then New Hampshire written out.org is my website, and I'm really easy to find. If you typed in Kate Baker NH in the internet, there'd be like a list like this that would come up, and my phone number would probably be in red and flashing. So I'd love to hear from you if you pay business enterprise or business profits tax, and you don't want to. I mean, who wants to pay? Frank, sorry, we don't want to pay you up there. We're good, right? We're good. We're going to give it to kids instead. Yeah, you don't need it. Okay, good. Excellent. So that was it. I want to share my website, that you can chase us at schoolchoicenh.org. And does anyone else have any other questions for me? Thank you so much.